Dr. Shirley Weber, California Secretary of State. Before we talk about the elections, let me ask you about a lawsuit that you and the Attorney General Rob Bonta are involved in with the city of Huntington Beach and their voter registration. Tell me about that, why that's important as we head into 2024 election.
Well, California laws are fairly clear with regards to who sets the rules for actually people being eligible to vote. And we have quite a detailed system of people basically registering to vote, having to verify their identification, that they're citizens, so forth and so on. That occurs before they actually go to the polls to vote. Adding additional layers is really against the law, because now you're adding additional qualifications that would disqualify some Californians who have the right to vote. So you don't have the opportunity to have counties and the cities actually making decisions at the state and federal level as to what is required to be a registered voter. And we informed Huntington Beach of that before it hit the ballot. When it first came to our attention and was being considered, we wrote them a document indicating that this was against the law for them to actually put this on the ballot and to try to implement it. They didn't respond, and they did it anyway. So now we have to make sure that they do not, that we have to invalidate this law, that we have to make sure that they do not think that they can actually have additional qualifications. So it's that kind of issue, but if you look at it in a deeper sense, there's no problem with registration right now. We don't have hordes of people voting who are not qualified to vote. So what is this, a solution looking for a problem? We don't have that as a problem. And we cannot create artificial barriers to people voting that will be implemented in different states and different counties and those kinds of places. So we don't do that. And it reeks of what happens in the past when people had voting ID laws, when they had poll taxes, when they had literacy tests. All those things are added on that do not in any way enhance or help with the registration.
Is this election different this year compared to ones that you've been involved in? How you're overseeing things, all of the elements playing in? Does this seem just different than others of the past?
Well, this is my first presidential election, but I've looked at what's happening across the nation and the state, and we know that it's like every other election. It's in California particularly, because we have very open and transparent elections. We don't have a lot of the legislation that others have that are trying to invalidate the vote, trying to manipulate who can and cannot vote, those kinds of things. But surely across the nation, this election, like it was in 2020, but particularly this one, because we're dealing with so many years of people with election deniers and misinformation and disinformation. After 4 years of that, we will be looking to see exactly what takes place. But I think we will be just fine, as we always have been in terms of presidential elections, but we still have the naysayers.
You have an incredible story that involved public education. Tell me about the successes and challenges of public education here in the state, not just from your previous experience in the Capitol, but as you see things now.
We have a tremendous challenge, I think, in terms of education that's coming now. At least we're seeing more schools willing to look and to be more innovative with regards to what's happening with kids. But we have yet to have a true accountability system. And that was what I argued for years in the legislature, that basically assessed and evaluated the performance of our schools based on the achievement of our kids, not on some other standard that may or may not have much relevance. It's important to have all those other things, but if our kids are not reading and they're not doing math and they're not doing science and they're not doing well and social activities, then we're going to have a problem. And we missed 2 years of school during COVID. Many kids have not recaptured that. We still have to have a stronger voice about what we expect and who's going to be accountable for making it happen. We have yet to do that in California.
How important is it for education leaders to go tell the story across the street today?
It is extremely important that they basically get to the point of education with regards to achievement. Not just about, we often talk about the money that we put in schools and why money is important, and money is important. But I've been in in the legislature when we were giving lots more money to schools, and we still did not see the kind of results we want to see. The power of education lies in the relationship between a teacher and a student and the parents and an administrator who's supporting. If you've got those ingredients working, then you can basically survive under most conditions, because our schools are not that poor in terms of resources that we have. But you've got to have those pieces working. We've got to help our teachers to be more ready for students. We have to reduce our class sizes, because it lies in the hands of a teacher. When that door closes, that's where the magic occurs, not somewhere else. It occurs right there with those kids and the parents who eventually come in and to help out. But that is the magic. When I was teaching, The magic occurred when the door closed. When it closed between the students and my expectations of them and my willingness to help them to achieve anything that they wanted to achieve. That's the magic.
Dr. Shirley Weber, thank you.